All right, so we welcome a new guest to Rob M Studios. We have the Guardian, Justin Alstad. Welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thank, thank you very much. Excited to join.
Yeah, it's great to have you on. And for those that might not know you, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay. Well, like Rob said, my name is Justin Alstad. I've been playing the game for uh, probably around 25 years. I got my first cards back in like 1997, I believe. Wasn't really connected to the main redemption community back then. Didn't really know that there was like other players out there. And then somewhere in like 2002, 2003, kind of found out about like tournaments and the online community, and have kind of been around ever since. Um, Taking a few breaks from the game uh, during the past, 20 or so years. Not really like completely away from the game, but just less involvement during some stretches. Um, but yeah, I've kind of done a little bit of everything: player, tournament host, worked on the play test team, served as an elder for several years, and just yeah, met a lot of people that have been kind of lifelong friends ever since I've met them.
That's fantastic. Yeah, you seem to have worn many hats in the Redemption universe, so that's great to hear.
I'm really honestly just thankful for the game because, like I said, just the people I've met and the experiences that I've been able to have because of the game. It's just been really a blessing. So I think I consider myself fortunate, and I hope that I can give back to the game and give back to the community as much as it's given to me.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, I would share that sentiment with, just it's a very welcoming and wonderful community, and I think over the years it's definitely been able to grow with, being on Discord now and, still some activity on the forums, but just being able to have more ways for people to interact with each other has been definitely awesome to see.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
All right, so we're gonna check out a few of these spoilers that actually hit the Discord today. Um, you pull them up here. Did you get a chance to check any of that out?
Yeah, I kind of had it open. I was taking a peek while I was at work, just kind of taking a little break to check the Discord and saw the new spoilers. So looked like some fun cards to add into the mix. Nothing super complicated, but definitely some cards that we'll see some use in certain types of decks.
Yeah, absolutely. I excited to see uh, Roots come out, so that's gonna be really nice to have. Okay, so we have I'm probably gonna butcher this name, Baruch, son of uh, Zeb. Zebai. I don't know how to say that one.
Something,
Something like
something like
that.
that.
He's a
Yeah,
1110 hero, warrior class. He's a post exilic. You may draw one or play a good Old Testament fortress from reserve. May ban to a post exilic hero.
yeah, that one looks pretty cool. So I during the kind of the LOC season, I guess you could say, I wasn't super active during that set, and so I didn't really do a whole lot with like the post exilics.
Hmm.
Um, Jaden was winning everything anyway, so I didn't really, but so I'm sure he's excited to see another posty hero
Yeah,
that
I
kind of gets the fortress theme going, gets adds to the banding chain, kind of some of the fun banding chains you can do with that offense. So
oh,
um,
absolutely.
one of these days, I'll look at the post exilics and maybe try my hand at that deck, but
Yeah,
haven't quite got there yet.
yeah, it's a tough beast to handle. But yeah, once I'm sure everybody saw this card and was like, "Oh, that's a Jaden card for sure." Banned to a post exilic. Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's another card that'll be in Roots that is also gonna be a Jaden card. So I've heard rumors. I don't know anything for sure, but um, driving with John Early to nationals has its perks. So you get a little.
Oh, yep.
I should say John and Gabe actually. This
Oh,
year
wow. Yeah, yep. Yeah, you
we
guys
we rode
must.
we road tripped with John and Gabe. So got a little inside info. So there's going to be some more of that coming out in Roots.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, it's nice to get the little inside scoop when you can. So, next up, Manasseh the Calming. And so they have him down as a patriarch, son of Jacob. He's a 1/2 Blue Brigade hero. Opponent may underdeck an evil card from hand. If they do not, negate evil characters.
Yeah, that seems like a really awesome card for the new Sons of Jacob deck. I haven't played with that deck, but I played against it a couple
Okay.
times. Jaden had a version, and then I believe it was Rob Smith I played against. Excuse me, in one of the actually one of the um, Rob M Zoom Invitational games
Okay.
from last season, and yeah, that deck can be really fast and just super aggressive as far as controlling your hand and how many cards you have in hand, and basically just a resource denial strategy.
Okay.
So yeah, that guy will definitely fit right in.
So yeah, if you deplete their hand, that's gonna really make it tough to stop. So that's cool.
Yep, yep.
All right, and then we got Amram, Moses's father, 7/4 white hero. If opponent has board advantage, discard the top card of their deck, may ban to an Exodus human.
Yeah, another solid hero for the Exodus theme. I think the obviously the Exodus theme got a huge boost with the starter decks, and
Mm-hmm.
then the you know Israel's Rebellion. So I think that'll definitely be a deck that you'll have to contend with in the coming season. Um, not a super maybe powerful hero, but definitely has some utility and fits the theme very well.
Okay. Awesome. And then let's see. The other card they spoiled was a evil weapon, a gray 2/2 Roman horses. And then that is you may draw X limit 2. X is the number of your evil Romans. If opponent has hand advantage, you may play a New Testament gray enhancement.
Yeah, so another solid card. Romans definitely um, they were definitely missing Naaman's chariot and horses after
Mm-hmm.
that was rotated out because that was a great card for the Roman emperors, and um, yeah, so getting the draw weapon back for the Romans because they don't get initiative too often, so
Mm-hmm.
having a weapon that can draw and potentially play. I don't. It doesn't interrupt the battle, right? It's not one of the interrupt draws.
No, it
I don't
doesn't
think.
interrupt. No.
Yeah, but even just having the weapon placed on them and then
Yeah.
blocking, then if you need cards, you can draw. If you want to try and play, maybe you don't draw, so you have
Yeah.
your opponent has hand advantage. Um, but yeah, and a lot of times if you're blocking, your opponent's going to have hand advantage even if you do draw. If they've
Mm-hmm.
been doing a big draw on their attack. So yeah, definitely a solid card. Again, nothing too crazy or you know, uh, but yeah, it's going to be a solid synergy card for Romans.
Yeah, for sure. And I definitely think maybe in Type 2, gray defense, it could see some more play if you can pair that with keeping your cards, your hand less than your opponent. So,
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
all right. And then this last one came out a few days ago. It was the seasonal promo. I guess it's a little bit different than the one they spoiled a few weeks ago. So it's Raiders Camp with the Fortress and the evil character warrior class. And this one says, if attacked, you may release contents to shuffle a lost soul as the fortress, and then as a evil character, it says capture a human in a territory, discard a fortress, or take an artifact. So then the fortress holds any number of captured human heroes.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting card. When I first saw I guess when I saw the first one that they spoiled, it was a little more similar to the original Raiders camp, where it could basically just, you capture a hero and then you kind of like stall block, because you just hand over the lost soul, or the captured character, instead of surrendering the lost soul.
Mm-hmm.
So this one's a little bit different. Looks to be a little more strategic. I don't know. I guess the jury's still out on how useful it'll be. I do think the evil character has a lot of versatility as far as getting to decide, which ability you want to use. So definitely like to see that on a character, to have that kind of versatility with the different options. Yeah, and then the fortress side, to see how many strategies people can come up with to try and make sure there's a captured character in order to trigger that. It feels a little bit more like it'll be a very specific type of deck that's going to try to use that capture
Mm-hmm.
strategy, because it is obviously, it's very negatable. Any hero that can negate any evil card just rescues and then negates it, so you can't use the shuffle shenanigans or whatever.
Yeah.
So we'll see. It might have to be just a piece in a more dedicated capture strategy deck that just, sometimes it's going to work, sometimes it doesn't, but it's kind of part of a larger capture theme. So, but we'll see. Maybe somebody finds a way to really make it kind of, overpowered, I guess. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. And it'll be interesting to see if the other version of the card has been printed as well, and what the final decision is on all that. So that'll
Yeah.
definitely be interesting to see. So, yeah, very cool to see all the new cards that are spoiled throughout the weeks. And I think it's just going to continue as the days get closer to the eventual release of Roots. So that will be neat to see.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
All right, and then just a quick break. We'll take a word from our sponsor. Be sure to check out yourturngames.biz for all your gaming needs, whether it be for deck boxes, contender decks. You know you want a contender deck, pick one up. Pick up your own playmat, dice, a rotation battle box, grab bags for each of the sets from rotation. Great deal. Complete sets and so much more. Be sure to check out yourturngames.biz. We have Justin Alstad from The Guardian. He is The Guardian on the Discord there, and I guess a legend in the redemption community, you could say, with the many roles that he has had. We are going to talk about the meta game. And for me, I was thinking about this term today, and before I came back to Redemption, I think about 3 years ago now, I played a bit back in 2008 to 2012, and I was pretty active in the area that I live, but I never really heard the term metagame before the last couple years, where it's kind of been a really big thing about once the older cards were phased out, and how that really shaped a new meta. So maybe you could kind of explain to our viewers what a meta is in a trading card game.
Yes, I think people use the term in a lot of different ways. I think kind of the most basic idea is that the meta is the what's the most common, or what's the most effective, in a card game. Sense, what's the most effective deck,
Mm-hmm.
and the most powerful deck, the few, or the deck that if you matched up, every single kind of deck strategy and flipped a coin 100 times, which is the one that's gonna win the majority of the time. And so when you talk about the meta for a card game, it's kind of like what's the optimal deck to choose, and obviously there's a lot of different deck options out there, so it's not always just one deck.
Hmm.
There could be meta, several meta decks that make up the overall meta. Where one deck is maybe, if you look at, nationals, the majority of the decks were like one of 3 or 4 kind of strategies, and not exactly the same, obviously, but variations. So maybe you have like the Gospels, GOC decks, where it's mostly just GOC stuff. You could also talk about strategies just kind of within the deck, where it's like, the Harrods defense is kind of considered
Right.
a meta defense because it's one of the most popular, as well as one of the most effective. You talk about the turn one Matthew.
Yep.
Turn one Matthew is kind of a meta strategy because it not only fits in a lot of different offenses, it's also one of the most effective openings that a player can use. So that's kind of what I look at when I hear meta. Is just what's effective, what's what's seeing the most play, and yeah, so that's kind of what I look at it as.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. So you just mentioned nationals, and that was about a month or so, a month and a half ago now, uh, and we had some new sets released since then. We had the Israel's Deliverance starter deck come out, as well as the Israel Rebellion set. Have you noticed like a shift in the meta since those cards have come out, or maybe you can kind of share your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't think probably quite yet. I think it's still
Okay.
with GOC being such a big set. I
Yeah.
think there's people are still exploring some of the things within GOC, and then to add, not only a new starter deck, but also a new expansion on top of that. I think it's still going to take some time to kind of figure out, is are the GOC or are the Israelites Rebellion strategies going to be kind of a contender within the
Okay.
meta. I think, I'm pretty sure Tyler played a wilderness deck. He was kind of showing off at nationals, and
Yeah.
it did very well against some of the other kind of meta decks, and
Yeah.
so there's definitely potential for it.
Yeah, I
And
think I think I remember him coming up to me and saying, "I just beat Jeremy and I just beat." He just listed a whole bunch of people that were like top placers in Type 1 2
yep,
player, and he's like, "I just beat them all with my Israel's deck." I'm like, "All right,
yep,
cool, cool."
yep,
So I think it's nice to
yep,
see that GOC like at that point kind of like raised the bar where everything was, and now they're trying to like maybe keep it on a level playing field and not like okay, now the new set's going to be more powerful, so everybody will play this. They want everybody to kind of play the Old Testament, play the New Testament, so maybe hopefully we'll see more of a balance and not like
yep.
every new set is going to be more powerful. So
Yeah, I think that's definitely, you hear the term power creep, and
hmm
that's where card games, they sometimes get to a point where, well, okay, like every set's got to be a little bit stronger than the one before. And, that's not necessarily a bad thing. You want the game to keep evolving and to keep, you know, having new abilities and, keep the game fresh.
hmm
But sometimes there's, expansions in any card game. Redemption's not immune to that, where you maybe go a little bit too far ahead, and I think people have talked about GOC being a really powerful set, and I think the Elder team, the playtest team, like wisely realized that yep, we need a set that's just a little more scaled back,
Hmm.
It's still going to be strong, as obviously Tyler showed with the games that he was, playing the good people at nationals.
Yeah.
But there's, it's not going to quite have, you know, all these, so many cards that do like three things.
Right.
Maybe they have three abilities, but you choose one, or maybe they
Right.
have, two really solid abilities instead of having, three or four abilities. And so I think that's a really good direction. So you can still have, strong strategies if the cards synergize well enough together. You don't need
Right.
every card by itself to just be a game breaking card.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I think the big thing with the new starter deck and the new set was they wanted it to be at a more introductory to intermediate level. Whereas with GOC, like you said, there's so many abilities on each card for some of them that it was almost like more of an advanced set. So,
Mm-hmm.
this is like a big time with the new starter deck trying to get uh, newer players into the game, and I feel like every week we have new people joining the Discord that are just getting into the game. Maybe they don't have any cards, and the Israel's Deliverance has been a great stepping stone for them to join the community.
Yep, definitely, definitely.
So next up we have Roots coming out. There's no specific date for that yet, I don't believe, but that will take the place of all the old scroll cards. Once that happens, all the booster packs will have all rotation cards in them, so that'll be exciting. Uh, I know we've seen some cards, probably not too many of the Roots cards, but do you think there will be any changes to how everything uh, stacks up in the meta and just the game in general with the introduction of Roots?
Yeah, so I guess the main thing I want to say about Roots is that I'm just excited because like I'm kind of a classic player. As some people may know, may not know, I participated in the Mr. Classic tournament this past year,
Okay.
and that was super fun. Like being able to play the classic cards was just I had a blast. Kind of deck building, kind of just like the old days, and yeah. So obviously the cards from Roots aren't going to be like exactly the same. We're not going to have the crazy throne decks or judges with Angel Under the Oak type stuff.
Hmm.
The idea with Roots is to bring back the old cards that were pretty balanced, and some of them are obviously stronger than others, but certainly not the ones that like the Samuel that had to be banned eventually because it was just so crazy good, or
Hmm.
Angel Under the Oak for a lot of years. People said that card should have been banned, and so I think it's. So I'm just excited to see, to kind of play the old cards without really having the old cards, but it's kind of like, um, just getting the best of both. The having the classic cards, but on the new format, the new card layout, card
Hmm.
design. I'm just really excited for that. I have no idea what it's going to do for the meta or for strategies. But yeah, I'm definitely excited to start seeing them when they are coming out, and then when they're eventually released in the packs.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too. I'm looking forward to seeing some of those classic cards like reimagined with some new abilities and bringing back some of the old abilities that fit still well into the gameplay. So that'll be a lot of fun. So
Yeah.
you've actually participated now in let's see, the last series. It was 14 of the Zoom Discord Invitational, and you're in the current one now. And I believe you've been playing in some of the Lackey Grand Prix as well, correct?
Yep. Yep. So I did the last series of Zoom Invitational, and then this is I think the first Lackey Grand Prix I've done. The last maybe like 2 years, I've been a little bit less active as far as online play or play
Okay.
in general. But I do remember playing in some of the online events. I think during the LOC season,
Okay.
and so. I don't remember if they were calling them Lackey Grand Prix back then. I think they were just well, they were the sanctioned tournaments
Okay,
that
yeah, the online tournaments. Yep.
yeah that Derek Watchman was
Hmm.
hosting those the Saturday morning tournaments. So I did a few of those. I don't think those were considered Lackey Grand Prix. So I think this is the first one that I've
Okay,
actually jumped into.
awesome. Maybe just share a little bit about what strategy you're running or deck style, and tell us how that's been going for you.
Yeah, so I've got a couple different decks that I've been playing with. I've got a kind of a gospel white silver deck with my favorite brown defense.
Okay.
Those who know me know that I'm kind of partial to brown. I did this past season or this last nationals in Type One. I played kind of a gray brown false prophets defense
Okay.
with a Daniel offense. Um, so I really enjoyed that deck. I think it was just a little bit slow for the kind of the GOC meta, where I just decks that could just get up to such a huge fast start. I
Hmm.
didn't have a great way to kind of catch up to those.
Okay.
But I kind of modified. I went with the gospel offense to pair with that brown defense. I've got a Daniel offense, kind of similar to the offense I used at nationals, and then I'm trying it with a Romans defense,
Okay.
and so you kind of get to use some of the powerful cards like Romans destroy Jerusalem, where I'm running Old Testament offense, and then New Testament offense is so prevalent, and so I can maybe get a big board swing out of a card like that. And then another deck that I've been using quite a bit is kind of a choose the blocker kind of control deck where using a card like 20 shekels. I think that's what it's called. I'm drawing a blank now. Yeah, 20 shekels from the um, Israel's Rebellion.
Okay.
You get to look at their hand and then play a character from their hand. So if they're trying to hide an evil character that they're not ready to block with yet, you can look at their hand, put it down, and then choose it to block, and you kind of are probably going to be in quite a advantageous spot from that point when you know what they're holding, and
Yeah.
you're kind of determining how they get to make their block. So then I got another deck that I'm not going to talk about it too much. It's a little bit of a combo deck, so
Okay.
I want to keep it
Keep
on
it
the
on
DL for a
wraps.
little
Yeah.
bit,
No problem.
but I actually haven't used it. I think I've maybe tested it in one actual game, just in a casual game on Lackey.
Okay.
But then I've goldfished it a ton, and yeah, we'll see. I don't know if it's good or not. Honestly, I'm still tweaking it, and we'll play it at some point here.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Do you think there'll be any cards that you're excited about to add to your decks for from the root sets? I know like at one point they spoiled a Haman's plot, and I don't know what that'll finally look like when they have that, but that might be
Yeah, I
a
mean,
nice brown addition.
yeah, like well, actually the at nationals they had the roots playtest cards where they um, had versions that they had play tested with. They weren't necessarily the final versions, but
Mm-hmm.
I actually did. I picked up the Haman's plot one.
Okay.
I won the did the silent auction at nationals, and I ended up getting the Haman's plot. So yeah, I'm
Nice.
definitely looking forward to seeing what the final version of that is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
The version that they play tested seemed pretty good. Banish it to discard 3 heroes, and then I think cannot be negated if used by Haman. So yeah, if that ends up being the final version, I think I could definitely see myself using that. I do like the Persians defense. It's a little bit an older one, so maybe it doesn't have quite some of the tricks that some of the newer defenses have, but it's also got a lot of things going for it in terms of like card draw and banding, and um, Persian Horseman is just an awesome evil character. So I definitely am a fan of that, and yeah, excited to see what Haman's plot ends up being in Ritz.
Awesome. Awesome. Very good. Yeah, I'm stoked for Roots. It's gonna, make the game even more fun, and I think it'll be nice for people coming into the game to see, uh, you know, all the cards looking the same when you open a pack, and I know it'd be kind of like weird or a little bit shocking when you're like, why do these cards look like this and these ones look like that? And then you got
Yeah,
to try to sit there and explain it all. So I think that'll be nice when it's all kind of streamlined. So um, I feel like on Rob M Studios we get a lot of like newer players, checking out they might see like a gameplay video and be like, hey, though this is cool, biblical card game. What? Like,
yeah.
is there any advice that you might give as like you said you played for over 25 years to the game? Any advice you might give to a newer player coming into the game?
I think one of the biggest things that, not really a mistake, but maybe um, something that players uh, do that maybe isn't the best idea is, they try to um, like build too many different types of decks. And I think if you want to, eventually that's something that, you want to do is be familiar with different strategies and different deck types, because then even if you're not playing a particular deck at a tournament, at least you're used to it. So when your
Mm-hmm.
opponent, is playing that deck, you know what they're kind of going to be trying to do. But I think for a new player, really getting familiar with one deck and kind of learning that deck inside and out, and making sure that it's a deck that you have fun with. I've told people, many times this past year at Nationals, I had only one card from GOC in my deck because I just wasn't very familiar with the set. I
Right.
knew a little bit about it, but I had not played very many games. I hadn't played any decks that really had GOC cards,
Mm-hmm.
and so I wasn't going to try and play something that I didn't really know how to play. So I played more of a deck that was maybe more popular around Prophecies of Christ during
Okay.
that kind of stage of the game, and I did okay. I wasn't, I was right around the middle of the pack. Could have done a little bit better if I maybe put a little more practice in the weeks leading up to nationals, but I think that's just but I played a deck that I knew, and I think that's one of the most important things for a new player is to get that get familiar with that deck, with a deck you enjoy, and then once you kind of got that, then maybe start to branch out a little bit and try some different things, and I think it'll just be more enjoyable experience, because then you're not getting frustrated and trying to like figure out the deck as you go,
Mm-hmm.
where you're like building a new deck the night before a tournament that you've never played before. Some people can pull that off. I've maybe done it once or twice, but that was after having years and years of playing the
Mm-hmm.
game. Probably not ideal for a new player.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that's solid advice. It makes sense to you know, take a certain, strategy or maybe a theme and just kind of go with that, get used to it, learn to play it, and then once you've kind of gotten that under your belt, then maybe you can start learning all the different other strategies and stuff. So yeah, that's definitely solid advice, and that brought back memories when you were talking about nationals last year when I think you said that was kind of like the time you came back to the game most recently, right? And I played a I went with the meta deck at the time, which we know didn't win because your brother Jaden won nationals that year with his deck. But I was playing Demon Hunters, uh, Vision Widow, and Matthew deck, and I didn't know it very well, so I lucked out a couple of times and did pretty good. Ended up playing at the top table on Redemption with Jaden live stream in the second round. But yeah, I think that's solid advice to really know the deck that you're playing because if you don't, one, you're gonna struggle and maybe end up taking too long and maybe everybody in Redemption for the most part is pretty gracious, but at the same time we are playing on time limit, so you don't want to
Yep.
take too long. So if you're like struggling with your own strategy and then you're asking a bunch of questions about the other person's deck because you don't know the cards, so
Yeah.
that's definitely good advice.
Yeah. I'm a firm believer that, someone who maybe has a, you know, quote unquote less powerful deck, but knows it really well,
Hmm.
is going to do better than someone who takes a more powerful deck but doesn't really know how to pilot it. And the person with the that knows their deck better is usually going to come out on top. At least from my experience, what I've seen in a lot of years of playing.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely makes sense. I guess just any other thoughts that you have for the community about a metagame or about just redemption strategies and maybe any final advice on, creating your own deck?
Yeah, I guess utilize the tools that are out there. There's a ton of content. You got your channel, you got Threshing Floor, my brother Jaden's channel, you got Land of Redemption, um, having an online playing and lackey. There's so many resources out there that
Hmm.
I think it's obviously it's not an easy game to master. I don't think any game that's worth playing is not going to be easy to master. But there's so many tools out there that you can use to improve your game, to learn the game better. And it's on if that's your goal is to become a really good player. So just use the tools that are out there. Get practice games in on Lackey with the deck. Look research articles on Land of Redemption. Listen to the podcasts and the videos, watch the online play. Like
Hmm.
that's you're just going to pick up so much um, by doing those things, and then it's going to be easier for you to like remember those things when it comes up. You see an interaction on one of uh, Jaden's online games, and you're like,
Hmm.
oh yeah, and then it sticks in your mind, and then it comes up for you in a tournament. You're like, oh, I know the optimal line here. I know a really play because I've seen this scenario before. So just the more that you kind of expose yourself to the different scenarios and interactions that come up, whether it's you playing or it's watching someone play, or it's hearing about, reading about
Hmm.
a scenario, you're just going to be that much better prepared when you're in a tournament and you're hoping to do well.
Awesome. Yeah. And I thank you for highlighting the, all the different resources. I think that's a big thing is there's so many resources nowadays. Obviously, we have my channel, we have Redemption with Jaden. Just I think there's like almost over 60 episodes of the Threshing Floor you can listen to about different
Mm-hmm.
name a topic, and John's talked about it on there. So, you got
Yeah,
Tyler talks, and somebody
yeah,
that's designing the cards right now is coming up with some deck strategies and sharing those. So,
yeah.
definitely everybody should check that out. So, yeah,
Yeah,
thank you for
that's not even mentioning the Discord and the forum, I
yeah
guess.
the
Like those
disc.
are
Yeah.
those are the two places, and
Yep.
and those are the places where you kind of find everything else. So
Hmm. Yeah.
definitely
Yeah. I mean
make sure
that's
that
bridges into the community. So,
yep,
I'm gonna put a link in the description for all the different resources, and um, I think it's so great how there's there's even more that there's been people within the last 6 months that have started creating content. There's another there's the Chamber of Angels podcast. There's many different places you can go to find things, and at least for me, when I played back in the early 2000s or late 2000s, early 2010s, there wasn't nearly that many opportunities to find deck advice, to connect with people. So I think it's
yep,
great to see how much it's grown.
yep, definitely.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Justin, for joining us on Rob M Studios. It's been great chatting with you, and appreciate you taking the time to have you on.
thank you. It's been fun. Like I said, I've kind of jumped back into the game a little bit, so I'm trying to do some helping folks out, doing helping folks get content. Like I said, I want to give back to the community that's given me so much, and I think this is it's a fun way to do it. To be involved. And I was on a episode of the Threshing Floor
Hmm.
a couple weeks ago, and the one I haven't been on yet is my brother's, which that's just kind of enough to talk to him about now.
I guess
I
so.
think yeah, well, I think but technically this was a couple years ago. I don't remember if this was actually part of his channel, but we did some wacky booster draft games
Okay.
that I think he recorded.
I think I
So
remember watching that one. Like it was a booster
yeah,
draft or like a and you get the randomization on Lackey, and you talked
yeah,
about how, okay, these are the possibilities of the polls, and this is what we're gonna choose. So yeah, I think you were on
yeah.
there then. I think I remember watching that
Yeah,
one.
it was
So
in the probably I guess in the early days
yeah, the
of
early
Wrestling with
days.
Jaden. It was
Yep.
me and Jaden, John, and then I think it was Greg, one of the players from our player group
Okay.
back then.
Yeah.
That
Yep.
we would do some wacky booster drafts, and technically I've been on his channel, but maybe not since those early days.
Okay.
So,
Awesome. Well, thank
but
you again, and it's been awesome having you. And uh, remember, everyone, to check out yourturngames.biz. That's a great place to go get your cards. Maybe there's some singles that you don't have still, and some cool play mats and stuff like that. So you guys should all check that out.
sure. See
All
you guys.
right. Take care. Bye now.